opinions expressed by callers, guests, and hosts do not necessarily reflect those of the Black Talk Radio Network and Black Talk Media Project. Black Talk Radio is new black media for the new millennium.
Gold dinar would have had serious consequences for the world financial system, but may also have empowered the people of Africa, something black activists say the US wants to avoid at all costs.
We're slicing cake. We're slicing cake. We're slicing cake.
Say the US wants to avoid at all costs.
We're slicing cake.
Say the US wants to avoid at all costs.
We're slicing.
Gaddafi didn't give up. In the months leading up to the military intervention, he called on African and Muslim nations to join together to create this new currency that would rival the dollar and euro. They would sell oil and other resources around the world only for gold dinars. It's an idea that would shift the economic balance of the world. Countries' wealth would depend on how much gold they have, not how many dollars they trade. And Libya has 144 tons of gold.
Welcome everyone to the Thando Radio Show, brought to you by Black Talk Radio Network. I am your host, Dave from LA. Just want to thank you all for listening. Today is, almost said it. It is August the 1st, 2017. And it is a Tuesday. And so have a live show for you today. So happy to have you along with us and looking forward to having this show with all of you and to share your thoughts, your comments in the subject of today or anything that you want to like to go into. We could do that as well. So it's one thing I always like to do with the shows is that, hey, once we start them, they're going to go where they're going to go because of you, the overall listeners. So everyone, if you would continue to support Black Talk Radio Network, and you could easily do that by going to the website for this network, and that is www.blacktalkradionetwork.com, and that is the homepage for this network. And if you would, definitely go there, and there is a donation button that is on the homepage. If you would hit that and give whatever it is that you can so that this network can stay on air, that would be greatly, greatly appreciated. And also, there's some major things that we'll want to just talk about for some things that you could do to assist BTR community, Black Talk Radio Network. And a couple of things is that Scotty and my man Max are going to be going to, of the New Abolition Radio, is going to be going to Washington, D.C., and they have a fundraiser. So, and that fundraiser is right there on the website of BTR community. It's donate to help the Carolina abolitionists get to Washington, D.C. The contingent trip to get to Washington, D.C., and just hit that. And I definitely will be doing that today, later on this evening. I will be doing that and sending something to for this so that Scotty and Max can represent. There's some things that need to be, of course, hotels, transportation. They may need to bring out a PA system that they may need to actually buy themselves. And it is all right there. And so it's around $1,400 that they're looking at. So if you would be so kind to engage in that, we'll greatly, greatly appreciate your donations. Also, on that homepage for BTR, for Black Talk Radio Network, you will see you could join the BTR community. It's a social media outlet where you can engage in all of your social media activities, and you can find it on the homepage for this network. It's the capital B that's there. Just hit that, and you will see actually what that is all about. And what it is a membership into the social media platform social media platform where you can engage in all of your regular social media activities in a more holistic way where you won't be adversely affected, and it's only $24 a year. So definitely please join that and support the network that way. I mean, we all appreciate, one of the things is that we all appreciate Scotty for everything, but a good way to ensure just to show the appreciation is to give whatever it is that you can so this network can go on. That is helping. That is something that really, really matters because it takes energy, and it's a financial energy that requires for this network to stay on air for everything that you enjoy. So that it's thank you is one thing, but helping in the overall direction of things is something totally, totally different, major, 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 and that is greatly. That's when you become assisting and ensuring, and you actually feeding the roots so that you can continue to have good fruit so that you can indulge in that. So definitely make sure you give what it is that you can to the network, okay? All right, so now also if you would like to acquire, there's a couple of things. If you'd like to acquire real money, you could do that by going to Prosperity Mint and check out what's there in inventory and just email info@prosperitymint.com, info@prosperitymint.com. This weekend, there's this Saturday at 2 o'clock Central Standard Time we're going to have the Controlling Your Wealth seminar, but it's only for online. We're going to be doing that this weekend, this Saturday, and I think that is the 6th. Let me check real quick. I think Saturday is the 6th. Let me check my calendar real quick. Oops. There's the calculator. And it's the 5th. Thought I was off by a day. It's the 5th, Saturday the 5th at 2 Central Standard Time. We will be having the Control Your Wealth seminar. And once again, if you would like to engage in that, it's $300. You can info Prosperity Mint, info@prosperitymint.com, info@prosperitymint.com. For those, all of you individuals that happen to miss it, on July the 1st, we will be having it on the 5th. And we'll probably have a couple of more. I don't want anybody traveling to Dallas because of a lot of things that's going on. I wouldn't be traveling, so I wouldn't want you to travel. So the Control Your Wealth seminar is $300. And the same thing is going to be sponsored by Prosperity Mint. There will be an introduction to some of the things that's going on. Oops. So 1 second, let me step this. Also, there will be the Legacy Wealth Management will come in with their presentation on trust and foundation. Then there will be move this. Sorry about this, you all. Then there will be actually a precious metals. The first hour of the precious metals class will be given, and that is a part of it. And then we will have a debriefing as to some of the things that you should be looking at, opportunities that you can engage in to create revenue streams for yourself and your family, and to better position yourself for what's going on in the world. And just from last month, I know just from that, the things that we had advised, I've engaged in, and it was well worth it. So you all, something that you all should be engaging in, I think also, I think that would be very, very beneficial to you all. So that will be it's going to be 4 hours. It will be from 2 to 6. And probably, depending on questions and everything else, we'll see where it goes from there. But very, very important, the Control Your Wealth seminar will be this Saturday, and that will be this Saturday, Central Standard Time, 2 p.m. I'll put the flyer up inside of Thando Radio Show a little bit later. But you can email Prosperity Mint. It's info@prosperitymint.com, info@prosperitymint.com. make sure you call the individuals. The reasons why we weren't able to get you into the class on July the 1st is because you had actually registered too late, and it was, just because of everything that was going on, it was a little too busy, so didn't see that you had registered, and so there was no one that was able to take care of that. So please register beforehand, and we will continue on, and we will have other ones also in the coming weeks. Very, very important. Okay, so with that being said, let's jump into, before we do that, also there's a couple other things. Everyone, please support my man Michael Emmanuel at his GoFundMe campaign. The family needs to, Michael actually had last month in June, he had received chemotherapy for germ cell cancer, which is the first time I ever heard about it. And you could go to the GoFundMe campaign. It's www.gofundme.com/Sam Union Yankee 5P/3500. Okay? So definitely engage in that, and that would greatly appreciate to help that family out so that Michael can get all the things that he needs. Michael Emmanuel can get all the things that he needs to be able to recover and detoxify from that whole ordeal, so the body can detoxify. So we greatly appreciate and thank you all that have engaged in that, okay? So now let's jump into what's in the news. Let me just hold on here. Okay. Jump into what's in the news. And for today's show is the seasons of black swans are upon us all. And they're closer than you think. Black swans. And I don't think there's only going to be black swans. There's going to be other things that jump up. And black swans are usually things that you don't anticipate happening. And they happen and catch by surprise. This is the season for that, in my opinion, because of a lot of the things that are going on in the world. And I want you all to be ready and be prepared for it so that you can properly have a proper response. But just before we get into that, those of you that are in the trade, ourcryptocurrency.com, the actual Trade Coin Club, because of the fork, they shut down trading this week. So they're doing maintenance, which is really a good thing. You didn't want any trading to be happening and something go wrong. So they will be bringing it up a little bit later, and they're going to have some changes. Those of you that are in that, I'm probably going to have to, let me see, what day can I do it? We probably will need to talk this weekend for a little bit, probably for about 30 minutes or so, just to set you up, because there's some things you're going to have to download, which is a better improvement. You're going to have to, I think it's Authenticator. RJ had texted me. So some things have changed. So those of you that are in trading with us, then definitely be a part of that this weekend. We'll let you know, probably do it Sunday, but I will let you know going on in the week and for the changes that are happening within Trade Coin Club. Okay? All right, so that was all the administrative things. One more. Right after Thando Radio Show this evening, Scotty is going to have a show on BTR News. Great show. I will definitely be listening in. Scotty will have the mother of the young man that was convicted of killing the transgender gentleman after the engagement of intercourse or relationships at a hotel. And so that is going to be coming on after Thando Radio Show. So definitely you want to be a part of that. The young man's mother will be there. I definitely want to hear, what happened and what is it that, and the things that we should be doing, because this young man should not have 40 years. They wanted to give him the death penalty, but he actually accepted a deal of 40. 40. That's life, and this is absolutely wrong. And so, if definitely want to hear about this, and then definitely come up with an action plan for this whole thing. So that is the administrative things, and then so now we'll jump into what's in the news. At any time, if you'd like to get in on the conversation, give us a call, 866-510-9025, 866-510-9025. We'll see you in queue, and definitely will bring you up so that you can make your overall presence or questions or comments known. 866-510-9025. The hit star. We'll see you in queue. All right, so let's jump into what's in the news. Let me just move this down real quickly. Here we go. First article. I got this one from, and I'm sorry today was late in posting different things and just a bunch of stuff trying to catch up for some things. So didn't get everything posted until a little bit later. All right, so first article I posted, this comes from The Sun, and this is definitely a part of the showcase of today's show. China showcases military might with huge parade, including stealth jets and tanks, and I believe that they also had some of their nuclear armament on display. Huge undertaking. So check out that. It's a lot going on, ladies and gentlemen. We need to know it's the seasons for Black Swan, and for everything is ripe for a major false flag to jump off, and a large geopolitical one at that. Much larger than New York, much larger than the Pentagon, much larger than Pearl Harbor. It's going to, in my opinion, that is some of the things that we are contending with. So hold on, let me cut this out. So definitely want you to engage in that. All right, we'll be talking about that. Next article, I got this one from Yahoo. The U.S. has detected highly unusual North Korean submarine activity. Check out that article. North Korea has been engaged in highly unusual and unprecedented levels of submarine activity in the wake of its second intercontinental ballistic missile launch this month, according to analysts by the U.S. military. So check out that article. Next one, I got this one from International Man. And this one's The Race Against Time. Good article, The Race Against Time. And so check out this article. You want to check that one out. Good article that's there. Okay, next one is, got this one from Russia Insider. The next escalation, Pentagon offers to arm the Ukraine to McCain's delight. When we reported yesterday about Putin's surprisingly harsh response to last week's House legislation to launch new sanctions against Russia, which also binds Trump's from unilaterally removing the sanctions without getting congressional approval, concluded that now we await the U.S. retaliation in what is once the same tit-for-tat escalation marked in the later years of the Obama regime, as U.S. military-industrial complex breathes a sigh of relief. So a bunch of stuff going on in the world. So this is a part of tonight's show as well. We need to be taking a look at this. Whole thing is starting to really take real form. Next article from Business Insider. United States-North Korea tensions are ramping up, but the horror of North Korean war are alive and well. Check out that article. Next article from Sputnik News. Open for business in Africa. China launches the first naval base in Djibouti. And if you've been listening to Thando Radio Show, from the very first show, we talked about how China was positioning itself in Djibouti, and actually there's been military confrontation, silent military confrontation between the U.S. Shooting at each other and China shooting at each other in the realms of Djibouti, because that is where the stronghold, one of the strongholds is. And so now what does China do? Puts an active naval base there. Check out that article. Next article. This one comes from the South China Morning Post. the celebrity figurehead president, Jinping, says that China says that in Beijing on Tuesday that China military will not tolerate any attempts to damage its territorial integrity. So things are really ramping up. Next one from Press TV. Linda Graham, U.S. should destroy North Korea itself. The celebrity figurehead Republican senator said U.S. Celebrity figurehead Donald Trump would go to war to destroy North Korea rather than allow it to develop a long-range nuclear-armed missile. There's a military option to destroy North Korea program in North Korea itself. Lindsey Graham told NBC's Today Show on Tuesday, describing his discussion with celebrity figurehead Donald Trump. Check out that. Very, very important. Next article from Daily Reckoning. 4 financial components to improve Russian relationships. Check out that one. Next one. Very, very important. I hope we get to talk about this one. The U.S. Treasury has yesterday, Treasury announced markable borrowing estimates. They are going to be, this is going to in the fourth quarter alone, they will actually be cause debt of $1 trillion in a quarter. And this is the fourth quarter right now, and will end in October. This is nuts and very, very important because that means that this has everything to do with you. Then also, got this one this comes from the Commerce Department, a news release, personal income and outlays, data and on gross domestic product, personal income, outlays, corporations' profit, fixed incomes, government receipts, expenditures, plus interactive national income product accounts table, and this comes from the Commerce Department. And what they showed for the everyday household is phenomenal as to how much disposable income has been lost by everyone, the overall national. And this goes right along with the debt, ladies and gentlemen. This is staggering. And what it means is this is why the black swans and everything is right for the false flag to jump off. So we'll be getting into that. Very, very important. And then 1 second, we got a caller that's in queue. Hold on, caller. I'll be with you in 1 second. Give me 1 second, and I will be with you. Just want to finish this, what's in the news, and I'll be right there with you before we get going in today's show. Next article comes from, we got this one from Strategic Culture, militarization of Scandinavian Peninsula. Time to ring the alarm bells. Check out that article. Next one, this one comes from CoinDesk.com. It has to do with the cryptocurrencies. More welcome than warning. The DOS ruling could transfer securities. Basically, the cryptocurrencies actually are going to continue to explode because the SEC is hand-tied on what's going on there. So but I don't think that's the case. They want it to, in my opinion. So check out that article. Very, very important. Next one, and this one has to do with the borrowing in the fourth quarter. And the fourth quarter, there's a tweet from Reuters. It says actual marketable debt borrowed by Treasury in the last 4 quarters is $527 billion. Initial projections for quarter 4 of 2017. This next quarter is $500 billion, $500 billion in debt they're going to create. This is going to adversely affect you. You have to be prepared for this. And then the last article we got from Sputnik News, and it says, got this one from Sputnik News. It says, world-scale experiment. Saturn's moon Titan reveals biochemistry of alien life. So Saturn's moon Titan presented a fantastic opportunity to test the hypothesis that there is life that there's a life form in space and is made up of completely difficult chemicals from those associated with life on Earth. So check out that article as well. So those are the articles of what's in the news. With that being said, we're getting ready to jump into today's show, but we got a caller in queue. Want to go to that caller, and the caller is calling from area code 312. Caller from area code 312, welcome to Thando Radio Show. What is your name, and what is your comment or question?
Yeah, it's Mayhem from Indiana.
Mayhem, what's up, brother? How you feeling?
Yeah, feeling pretty good, man. Been listening to you. Hey, I want to ask you a question.
Good to hear from you. Yes, sir.
Hey, it's good to hear from you. I want to ask you a question. I've been hearing people talk about this. Let me ask you something. We talked, because I heard somebody earlier talking about celestial beings, this and that, and whatever. Let me ask you something. We talking about they coming. What if they already here?
Right.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying, because when you look at certain people, because I know we want to say, the white man is this, the white man is that, but wouldn't celestial beings be smarter than that and come in every color, in every nationality?
Come on, Mayhem.
I'm just saying.
Come on, Mayhem.
We focus on what we have been taught, but we're not focusing on the inner being. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny or nothing. I'm just saying you can. I mean, if you really just study the spirit and just study stuff, whatever, you can tell a human from a non-human. And
yes, I'm
just saying they already. People talking about they coming. They've been here. They've been mingling with us, and I'm just saying. You look at history. History repeats itself. Is this everybody focuses on Trump, but I just think it's some celestial beings at the White House too. But I'm just saying that they are among us, and a lot of us come up disappearing and stuff because we may be their food supply, and it's very heavy down here. But I'm just saying people need to be careful who they intermingle with and who they think is what, because you never know. They get real close to you, and then something happens to you. That's all I'm saying. But also, what you think about?
Well, wait, hold on, man. Let me get to this one because I just want to second what you said. Yes, I do think that they've intertwined themselves into the human species, and history has been talking about that throughout, and it's always been there. What's so funny, Mayhem, and my overall investigation of the precious metals, guess where it leads to? It leads to extraterrestrial intervention, and it leads to, and because of that, that's where slavery started. It started because of there were celestial entities, EBEs, extraterrestrial biological entities, that were here on this planet because of, if you look at the moon, when you look at the moon, what do you see? You see a bunch of craters, right? And that's one of the things that the moon does, is that it protects the Earth from what? The celestial asteroids or comets and asteroids out in space. It acts as a buffer, and it gets in those places. The moon gets impacted more than the Earth does, and it actually, you can see the scars of it there. Well, but what does that tell you? What that tells you is that there's a lot of there's a lot of minerals, there's a lot of pure silver and gold, there's a lot of other things that is on the moon. This is why there's always been a race to the moon by all the nations, because that's how you get precious metals on this planet, because the Earth doesn't produce it. And silver and gold is actual extraterrestrial. The Earth doesn't produce it. It has to come here by way of what? Asteroids, meteors, and everything else. This is why if an asteroid ever goes in your neighborhood, the government's going to come in and forcibly move everybody out. And they're going to tell you for this reason and that reason, but the real reason why they're doing it is that they want to harvest that asteroid. They want to harvest that asteroid.
Because I don't know which one it is. Is it silver or gold where they're trying to intermingle with the body because it'll make you live forever?
Yeah. Well, it's actually what they both have proper, but you're talking more about gold, and that's known as monotonic gold. And I would be very, very careful with monotonic gold. That you got to be extremely careful. Careful. What is that? You have to be extremely careful with monotonic gold. I would never, ever engage in monotonic gold without being properly prepared for it, because I know what it can do. And the general people aren't ready for what monotonic gold. But yes, monotonic gold actually has a lot of properties, and these are a lot of the things that we teach in our precious metals class, why this stuff is so important. And it's all right in front of you. It's all right in front of us, Mayhem. And one of the extraterrestrial the extraterrestrial species are different species that are on this planet. They are here for a lot of reasons. One of the reasons that they're here on Earth is because it's where the gold is good. And so it's a whole bunch of different things. So I'm glad you brought it up. And it's actually the precious metals is the reasons that slavery started, and it's the only thing that's going to end it. Yeah, go ahead, Mayhem.
I wasn't saying, I was just asking. I wasn't saying that for advice to anybody to use it or whatever, because I'm just trying to learn myself. Hey, but another thing, I don't know how I want to say this, but when you look, it kind of ties in what we're talking about. When you look in, they put something in front of us, like transgender, but I'm looking down the line. I'm just getting your opinion. What you think that's going to lead to? Is that leading to normalize these species?
No. In my opinion, it's a part of the plan of multifaceted. It's multifaceted. One of the things, there's a depopulation component to it, but I think it's much more than that. It has a cloning component to it that's more important to the overall system than that, because the depopulation program, I think that they're going to use the wars and the economic collapses and everything else for that. But that is going to bring about the overall cloning process. I'm going to just say this real quick because of what you said. One of the reasons why I don't eat pork is because you're actually, in my opinion, you're actually eating a cloned human. That's why I don't engage in eating pork. You think about whenever someone needs a heart, or when someone gets third-degree burns or anything else, where do they get the skin from? They get it from what? A pig. Where do they get the heart valves and parts of the lungs and things of the major organs? Where do they get that from? The pig. The pig was actually, and if you got a doctor that is seasoned and is worth his weight, and he's worth his weight in gold, he'll be honest and tell you that, yes, that was a part of what the cloning process is with pigs. This is why you're seeing them, and China is one on the forefront of it all. China and other countries are on the forefront of genetically creating pigs, genetically creating different things. That's where this, in my opinion, is going. And it has a lot to do with that there, and why it's so important for us to be as natural and remove ourselves from the synthetic nature itself. That will be the perfect slave. That will be the perfect slave for those that are here those that are coming. Because just like us, there are some, I believe that there are some extraterrestrial beings and that are malevolent and some that are benevolent. Just like us as individuals, there's no difference. And I think that there are some extraterrestrials that are far more advanced than us, but then I think that there are ones that aren't more advanced than us. But I do think this is that our overall, what they say that mankind is able to do right now is a lie. A lot of the so-called UFOs that you say that we see, and they say, you hear people say there's nowhere in the world we have that technology. No, they've been doing light speed for a while now. Man has. They've been colonizing and going to different planets for a while. They just want you to stay where you are and not thinking. So, great question, Mayhem.
Yeah, I want to say one more thing. What you think?
Yeah. Go ahead.
What you think about this? And then I'm gonna get off the phone. Ain't it? Don't it appear? Ain't it funny that it seems like we've been stagnated? That history is stagnated. It seems like we've been reduced and back into the '60s. And I'm gonna let you go. Oh.
Yeah, Mayhem, man, great points. Yes, and see, one of the things that they do is they always try, and we got Sister Davis in queue. 1 second, Sister Davis, I'll go right to you. Mayhem made some great points. Yeah, one of the things that we do is that we fall for the printing press in the mainstream media. One of the most effective tools that mankind has used to maintain enslavement and subjugation was the printing press. By writing different things and by having mass media propaganda. And what Mayhem is, yes, the stagnation of things is purposeful. Is absolutely purposeful because they realize that each individual person that's here has a physical life expectancy, not complete life expectancy, but just a physical. And while they're here, I think it's easier to control your energy and in your full being. It's easier in a physical form. I think that, and I can see that there are extraterrestrials, both benevolent and malevolent, that are not in the physical form. They're dimensional. They're able to come in different forms. So, some are, could be good or bad, but are we in a stagnation? Yes. And I think that's very, very important. For us, civilization is stagnant, but you as individuals should never be stagnant, and those that listen here aren't, because this is why you ask the questions that you ask. This is why you're interested in the things that you're interested in. This is why you do the things, because your spirit is even bigger than the captivity that they try to hold, the captive pen that they try to put you in. And so because of that, you're already sovereign and self-determined and free. And you will always be that way. But all of us resonate differently. So great call, my man, Mayhem. And don't be so long, brother. It's good to hear from you. So we got Sister Davis that's in queue. Sister Davis, welcome to Thando Radio Show. Come on.
Davis, how did you know it was me? But now Mr. Davis does owe you a phone call. He said he'll call back in a little bit because I stole his thunder. I said, give me the headphones. I wanted to comment on the brother. And the brother is so right. And so are you, Dave, of course, with the moon and the impacts and all that. A lot of people don't know that all those holes was created, kind of. But anyway, I wanted to add that there is a movie. I know, Dave, you're not a big movie buff, but the rest of us are. It's called Cowboys and Aliens, and it is so good. It has Harrison Ford in it, and it really shows you the mining process of the aliens. Dave, you need to look at it too. It's called Cowboys and Aliens. Oh, you saw it. You saw how they were mining it, and they captivated the people's minds so that they couldn't remember. And I mean, it's off the chain because it makes so much sense. It's out in the the Indians are involved. I mean, it's really a good movie to really show you some of that process of. I think that's about as true alien movie that I've ever seen. And I also wanted to mention that year, I think back in the 80s, there was this series on TV called V, like a V meaning like V being alphabet V, and it was aliens. Man, that sucker got by the third series, it got so real that they cut it off. They were like, They were shape-shifting. They were, having babies, and they were all migrated into society. And it was started with, I can't remember. I guess it was an alien, something, terrestrial hit the earth or whatever. But they came here, and they were here, and they were taking over. And it was called V, and they took that sucker off because they were like, no. TMI, too much information. It was too real. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't even know if Hulu got it on there where you could go back and see it. But that movie, I mean, it was a show. It was a series every week. And they showed them shape-shifting. And that was, the shape-shifting was the first of its kind at that time. I guess it was either like mid-'80s, early 90s, something like that. And, but that like the brother's true. And I wanted to mention about the pigs. One of the things that a lot of people don't know that come from pigs is insulin. Pigs, that's where they get the insulin from, and people who say, I don't eat pork and all that, okay, well, then you need to get off that needle because they're giving you pork every time you shoot up. They have some synthetic, but it's still, the synthetic is still grown from the pork, and a lot of people don't really understand that, and I never heard of it being cloned as a human, but that's about right now that you said that. I can understand that happening. Because you're right, they do get all the skin, they get the valves, they get the I think they're growing,
heart itself.
The heart itself, yeah. And like I said, I think they're growing ears. I think they can grow different limbs on the back of the pig, from what I've seen. But a lot of people don't know the insulin is coming from the pig, and just every 3 out of 5 people is diabetic, and they need to know that it's all a creation, and who knows what's all going into their body that's being created. Then once they die, who knows what they strip that might have pig DNA in it. Whew, it's a witch's brew of stuff. But yes, I do believe that that is very true. And also, one more thing I wanted to mention was the meteor that hit the Earth is that shungite. That shungite that that's my stone. I got the earrings on right now and a ring. I got rings on, and my husband has a ring on. And shungite is straight up meteor. And it hit the shungite. Well, it wasn't called shungite. It was the Shunganese something peninsula in Russia. Because when we got our shungite,
Oh, Sister
Russia,
Davis went out.
You could see.
Say that again, Sister Davis. Yeah, it went out when you were saying when it hit Russia. Go ahead.
We got our shungite. Yes, we got our shungite. It came directly from Russia. You could see all the postmark, and when it came to the mail, it took about almost a month, for it to come in. And that's what it is. It's a meteor. It was a meteor that hit the Earth, and it is 99.9% carbon. Shungite is, and that's why the properties are so phenomenal. People just don't really know that much about it. As a matter of fact, when you get it, you can test it with a electrical meter to see if it has the electrical properties. If it doesn't light up, it's cheap. It's not cheap. It's imitation shungite because it has its own power source. Its stuff is off the chain, and it really it conducts energy. It has the negative ions. It has a lot to, but like I said, it is a gigantic meteor that hit the Earth, and that's what shungite stone is. So I just wanted to add that.
Tunguska. It was a Tunguska event. It was the largest, and it just totally left. This is one of the reasons why Russia, and, I'm going to tell you this, Sister Davis, two things. With the pigs, everyone... Next time you see a pig, or go to Google, images of pigs. I want you to look at their eyes. Look at their eyes. You will not be able to distinguish a human being's eye from a pig's eye. This is why when you hear people say, "Oh, that person has a pig face." Pig face. It's where all of these things come from. That's where all of these things come from. And so this was back, when they used to use technology to clone people and to mix different entities in different biological species and everything else. And that was the technology, and it's still that technology is still today, and they're still actively doing that. But with the meteor, very, very important. There was something that Vladimir Putin did right after the Sochi Olympics on, it was the 15th, February the 15th, I believe it was, of 2012. There was a large meteorite, and you can look at it on YouTube. It killed a couple of people. It lit up the sky just like the sun when it came in, and it came in and it hit in Russia. Probably the largest one that we've had since in a long time. And this thing, when this thing came in, it lit up the whole sky, and when it hit, the overall blast that it had was huge. And what they did to mark the anniversary for that, 1 year later, during the Sochi Olympics, on the anniversary, what Vladimir Putin did was he took fragments from that meteorite and put it in the gold medal for the gold medal winners of that day. And he was sending a big message to people like me and other people that know and has been researching this he was sending a message as to what was happening. And what he was sending a message is that Russia will rule the world now. And we're going to rule the world by what? By what? By assets. And those gold medals that those individuals received from the Sochi Olympics, they're the purest form of gold that you ever could find because the meteorite is in it. Those medals are more valuable than any the other medals that have ever had. And he was sending. And why did he do that? That's because at the just before the Olympics started, there was a bombing at one of Russia's historical train stations, and Putin's hands was tied, and he knew who did it. It was the neocons. The same ones out of Washington, D.C. that spurred the overall coup in the Ukraine, and his hands was tied. Saudi Arabia was involved, and he got Bandar Bush. He handled him. You don't see Bandar Bush anymore. I think Putin himself handled him. But Putin was sending a major, major message to the rest of the world, and those that got the message knew exactly what he was saying, and you're seeing it being played out right now. The Shanghai Gold Exchange first official transaction was with Russia. Last month. Huge. So it's a lot that goes on in this world. So we try to keep you abreast of it all. So yes, Sister Davis, and I saw that movie, Cowboys and Aliens. I was actually forced to go see it. Daff made me go see it with her. But yes, that's where they got that whole everything from, was the ancestral story of the Sumerians' interactions with the Anunnakis. But it was much, much more than that. But I'm going to just say this real quickly. If you look at biblically, right after man is created, 3 verses later says, go to Havilah where the gold is good. It's a reason why that was done. They drop all kinds of hints and everything else. So very, 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 very interesting. Because, see, the thing about shungite and the thing about the precious metals is that they have properties for sustaining life. That's why they're known as precious. That's why they're so important. But they don't want you to know that, because they want you to think that it's nothing. It's not real. But those that, you heard the old saying, the golden rule, those with the gold make the rules. That is so true. Why? You wonder why we don't control anything? Because we don't have any assets to control anything. So why it's so important that we bring back prosperity. So just wanted to say that. Great call. Yeah. Hey, Brother Davis. No, we got a little time. We got a little time. Go ahead, Brother Davis.
Okay, well, listen, my brothers and sisters, I'm glad I had the opportunity to let my wife get on because when she gets something on them that she wants to expand upon, I like to give her that opportunity. The tomorrow night show is going to be on the sensation of sensitivity. Now, the reason why I say that is because whatever is about to happen, it's going to happen in a manner in which it will be a vibration first. I don't know if you people who know it, but anytime you have an animal, a cat, a dog, these things are all sensitive and perceptive to different vibrational changes. Actually, in Egypt, the cat was so sensitive that literally it was worshipped to a certain degree because of its extrasensory perception. And literally, I wanted to kind of talk about the whole alien thing, but I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to leave that alone because literally I come from a different perspective, a school of thought, so I won't even bother that. But I will say this, that in our preparation, there's a lot of things going on, and if at any given time you sense your cat, your dog, or your fish acting erratically, that may be a sign that some other people may not get, that you may be fortunate enough to get insight on. And I'll go into that tomorrow night on a greater detail, because these are all tools that we use to our advantage if we know how or learn how to identify them. So, brother, listen, it's a great show as usual, and I'll sit back into the queue and continue to enjoy.
Definitely, Brother Davis. Looking forward to that. Yeah, the Abyssender, that cat is extremely sensitive, the Abyssender. So, yeah, that is, if I'm going to have a cat, that's the only one that I would be able to have. It's extremely intelligent. So looking forward to that sensitivity with Brother Davis tomorrow on Wise Wednesday. So very, very important. No, and Brother Davis, I'm with you on the whole. It's so many things. It's been changed to fit a agenda. But one of the things is that the truth is somewhere, and it should be talked about. And one day I'll have a show on. I'll tell you what I asked, because it's probably the time, from just some of my research and from my overall dealings. This is why the precious metals are so relative to me, because they're a living being. They actually live. Just like you, they have intrinsic value. Just because they don't talk and walk doesn't life form comes in. Life comes in all different forms. Each planet is a living being. The stars are living beings, and so that's why they're able to enhance and give the kind of life that's necessary for our physical bodies. Without those, we would not exist, because it's the whole sustainability. So definitely looking forward to that. So, we got a little bit of time. All right, so we're going to jump into today's show. Is the seasons of Black Swan are upon us all, and they're closer than you think. So, yes, I definitely agree that we need to be extremely aware as to what's going on around us at all times, because it's just a benefit that we have. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to just give you one thing. One of the things that I had to learn is I had to learn to not to question it, but to trust it. But question it not from the standpoint of questioning it from asking it questions, but questioning it from the standpoint of really engaging in it, trusting it, allowing myself to engage in it. And we do that because we've actually been taught since we were young people to suppress our true talents. Every single person here is an antenna. Every single one is a receiver and a transmitter. You are the energy source, and you can interpret the energy all around you. And what's so great about it is that realm is a realm that doesn't have any form of deception. It's there what is there. It can be interfered with. It definitely can be interfered with. But it's more sincere. It's more honest. And so I think that's very, very important for us to do that. And, in today's world, The system always wants to domesticate you. It wants you to respond and obey. And when you do that, you actually start to lose your overall full capabilities and talents, because it suppresses, it stifles, it smothers your ability to resonate with in the proper frequency at the high frequency that you otherwise would. But that choice always becomes ours, and that's the whole battle. I won't say it's a battle. That's some of the obstacles that we have to overcome, because that's all they really are. They're just mere obstacles that we should be learning from. So every single person here, you're able to determine where things are going. You don't, and that's why I think it's so important for us to engage in that, because when you do engage in that, then you'll start to realize that your physical attributes are no longer as significant as the domestication would have you think or would want you to give energy to. You won't need, there won't be really any need for the physical the different physical needs, from drinking water to re-energizing yourself. You're in our whole universe is a power plant, and it's sustainable to maintain everything. Your physical body, there are needs that your physical body has, and because they need those types of things, your physical body becomes temporal. It becomes temporal because those needs are at a frequency that's much lower. In what's eternal are the high frequencies. Yes, you can have high frequency among low frequency living entities. Yes, that does happen. That's the beauty of this whole galactic universe in everything that we engage in. So definitely want to encourage you all to start trusting and learn and to redevelop and reconnect. It's just like learning to walk all over again. You're going to have to crawl. You're going to have to first be able to push yourself up, then start to crawl before you can stand up, before you can run, and then before you can run a marathon or do all the other things. It's a process to this whole thing, and it's what you give energy to. It's what you want to, how you want to reside in your physical existence, because that's what it is. It's just a residency. It is not your permanent space. So definitely we'll be jumping in some of that into today's show, but I want to talk about some of the things that we're going to be facing, so that your energy is not altered to where you decide to do something and engage in something that is not of you. So you're listening to Thando Radio Show, brought to you by Black Talk Radio Network. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break. If you'd like to get in on the conversation, give us a call, 866-510-9025, 866-510-9025. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break.
Black Talk Radio since 2008, providing new black media for the masses.
Okay, welcome back, everyone, to Thando Radio Show, brought to you by Black Talk Radio Network. If you'd like to get in on the conversation, give us a call, 866-510-9025, 866-510-9025. Hit star. We'll see you in queue. What's up, Brother Bragg? I got your text, Brother Bragg. So you can call in at any time as well, Brother Bragg. We'd love to hear from you always. So definitely. All right, so we're going to just make sure we're good on the board. Yep, we are. All right, so we're going to jump into today's show. Now, one of the first articles that I posted was China showcases military might with huge parade, including stealth jets and tanks. And this came from the Sun.co.uk. It's a British publication. Let me pull this up. And don't know. Well, before we do that, I want you to hear something that was on Cerebrally Naive Network. And I want to set this up because I want you to be fully prepared for what's going to be happening and where different things are going, the directions that they're going. The reason why you want to be prepared is so that you'll be able to navigate it in a way that benefits you, your family, and our overall community. So what I'm going to do, let me set this up really quickly, and I should have did that during the commercial break, but I was doing a couple other things. Let me just set this up really quickly. There was something that I want you to hear from Cerebrally Naive Network. And yes, there it is. So that you can hear what the overall agenda is. And why do you need to know? Because one of the things about energy is that the universe acknowledges all. The universe acknowledges all. And you may be, and how that works is that you may be walking down the street minding your business, but someone that you don't know and doesn't know you can affect and interfere or enhance you. It goes in it could be something that's beneficial or something that is harmful. That's just the truth of it all. But the most important thing is how you respond to it. That's your power. So I want to set this up as to what this whole play is so that you'll know, so that you won't get caught off guard. We won't get caught off guard in this. So it is some real deviant planning that's going on as we speak right now. So let me set this whole thing up. It may take me a while. I may have to wait until the break. That you need to know. And by knowing, that way it will, I think it puts you in a better position and puts us in a better position to be able to handle everything. Okay, here we go. One sec. Let me just rewind it, and then we'll listen to what Cerebrally Naive Network, their overall. This is why the printing press and the... So here we go. Listen up.
Back with our world lead, while President Trump and General Kelly try to stabilize the White House here in the U.S., North Korea and Russia appear to be trying to gain advantage on the geopolitical stage. Pyongyang may be gearing up for another type of missile launch just days after firing its second ICBM. In response, Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina said this morning that President Trump would be willing to use the last resort on Kim Jong-un's regime.
There will be a war with North Korea over their missile program if they continue to try to hit America with an ICBM.
If that weren't threatening enough, Russia is threatening Eastern Europe as it prepares for a large-scale military drill along the borders of NATO countries, which has some worried that could be a Trojan horse. Let's bring in CNN's Barbara Starr. Barbara, how concerned is the Pentagon right now?
Well, look, Jake, both North Korea and Russia are reaching the boiling point in their relations with the U.S., but what the Pentagon wants is a diplomatic solution. Russian President Vladimir Putin cheered by naval forces as the country prepares for a large-scale military exercise on the border of NATO countries.
Today, the naval fleet carries out not only its traditional tasks, but also capably meets new challenges.
The head of U.S. Special Operations Forces warning of a new threat from the Russian military.
The point of concern for most of the Eastern Europeans right now is they're about to do an exercise in Belarus, Russia, that's going to entail up to 100,000 Russian troops moving into that country. The great concern is they're not going to leave. And that's not paranoia, that's active concern.
Even the Secretary General of NATO doesn't believe Moscow's claim it's only sending 13,000 troops.
We have every reason to believe that it may be substantially more troops participating than the official reported numbers.
It's a Russian move that can't be ignored, experts say.
There has to be a strategy. What will we do? What will we put up with?
And that's just one crisis for the West Wing that new White House Chief of Staff, retired General John Kelly, is now running. In North Korea, the U.S. continues to say it's not looking for regime change.
We are not your enemy. We're not your threat. But you are presenting an unacceptable threat to us, and we have to respond.
But after 2 intercontinental ballistic missile launches and growing North Korean submarine operations, U.S. satellites, aircraft, and submarines are gathering every snippet of imagery, electronic intercepts, and radar readings. It could all help the U.S. get a vital heads up. Military options for North Korea have been updated, as CNN previously reported. They're aimed at a rapid response if there is an imminent threat of a North Korean missile attack or use of a nuclear device. The Pentagon is adamant about making diplomacy work. But a key Senate Republican hawk says he was told by President Trump conflict is always a possibility.
He has told me that. I believe him. I'm saying it's inevitable unless North Korea changes. If there's going to be a war to stop him, it will be over there.
Earlier today, Secretary of State Rex Tillerson said the U.S. would be willing to sit down with North Korea, but only if it relinquishes its nuclear weapons. Jake?
Robert Starr at the Pentagon for us today. Thank you. Turning to another international.
All right, so I want to just real quickly give you a little gist of that and comment and tell you what I'm seeing here. This is all purposely done. Let me just say this. North Korea has a Second Amendment right. The U.S. should be actually honoring the Second Amendment right of North Korea. Plain and simple. The U.S. has nukes. Other countries have nukes. Why shouldn't they have nukes? But you and I know that all of these nations together, by them having nukes, they never go to war with each other. They only go to war against the people of the world. And I think that this is going to be a part of the rebalancing of the system. In an asset-based economy, the emphasis is not going to be on the many. A debt-based economy actually allows for the population to grow, and it's easier to manage. In an asset-based economy, it doesn't. And that's where everything is going. And because what happens in an asset-based economy, people start to look at value of things and not look at the price of things. And when they do that, what do? They will all of a sudden say, wait a minute. They'll look at their overall engagement in the so-called government program. They'll look at it as a value. And that value criteria will be, wait a minute, there is no value for me to be a citizen. There's no value for me to be under the rule of the government. There's no value. But in a debt-based system, everything is price sensitive, so it does it does offer it. People will see that it's worth it to do it under a debt-based economy. Under an asset-based economy, there's intrinsic value. If something doesn't have intrinsic value, you see it for what it is, as a worthless nothing. And that's why there has to be the depopulation. And this is something that I am seeing is ramping up, and they tell you before they do it. They actually tell you before they do it. And one of the things about this is that, as I firmly believe that North Korea has a Second Amendment right to defend itself, and unfortunately, Gaddafi made the fatal mistake, and here's what's Gaddafi's fatal mistake. He didn't have a bordering country that already had nukes. That's the only reason that North Korea has the position of advantage, because they're bordered by a country that does have nukes, known as China and Russia. They border them. Gaddafi should have never given up his nuclear program. If he did, he would have never been killed on the streets in Libya. Wouldn't have been able to do it. But now, for you and I, as we resonate, here's the problem. As long as we continue to practice war, there will always be a war that will be fought. But in order for us to get there, I think there's because it took us a process to get away from it. It's going to take us a process step by step to get back to it. Because when we look too far down the road, that means that we're not really committed to taking that first step. Let's take the first steps. Let's start engaging in more honestly in looking at things from a value system and be able to discern the lies and the deceptions based on frequencies. Then it doesn't matter. The printing press no longer has any relevance. It has no value. No longer does mainstream media have any relevance because it has no value. When you start to do that, overall capabilities and talents will reign supreme. And what we could do with that is that you could travel in light years. You can travel. You can have interdimensional travel. You can engage in so much. And I think that is something that's so important that we should start engaging. But the system knows that it has to have these things in order to maintain itself. Has to have it to maintain itself. So this is all coming together. Now, there's another thing. And like I said, Gaddafi, that was the mistake that Gaddafi made. Because Gaddafi should have never gave up that overall nuclear program. Because if he didn't, the overall, the gold dinar would have more relevance in Africa, and he would still be here now in the physical form, in my opinion. So, and this is one thing about, one of the things about Kim, regardless of what, that was a smart move. He realized that he had the backing of Russia and China behind him. They got nukes, so that means that I'm going to be able to acquire nukes. They're going to have to respect my Second Amendment right. Now, what does that mean? North Korea already has, in my opinion, the capabilities. And that's going to be used in brokering of the deal in the war, World War III, that will turn into GNW1, Global Nuclear War 1. But it won't be the first time that nuclear war has been engaged on this, or nuclear confrontation, or where nuclear technology was used as weaponized nuclear technology. No, it won't be the first time. And it's not talking about when the U.S. dropped the nuclear devices in Japan, even before that, many, many times. This whole cyclical cycle of subjugation and enslavement has to have that cycle in order to remain relevant, because it can never allow and can never give way to the people realizing who they truly are. Then they're no longer in existence, because your frequency will shatter theirs. So important. Now, at the same time, this whole destabilization, now we have Venezuela. I want to just play this from Cerebrally Naive Network again about Venezuela. So we're going to pick up here. I want you to hear this, and then we'll put this together. Here we go.
Crisis in Venezuela. Democracy is in shambles. Politicians who spoke out against current President Nicolas Maduro were yanked out of their homes by authorities in midnight raids as violent anti-government protests leave demonstrators injured and killed. The U.S. has imposed new sanctions on Venezuela following what critics call a sham election called by Maduro to consolidate his power. But will sanctions be enough? Let's bring in CNN's Leila Santiago in Caracas. And Leila, have you seen any sign that Maduro might be able to be deterred by these sanctions?
Well, I think those the overnight developments are a sign that he is not being deterred at this time, that he is being emboldened in taking some of these opposition leaders in the middle of the night, some while still in pajamas. These are big names among the opposition. These are the faces that you see on T-shirts, on posters, out on the protest. So in the question of, is Maduro being deterred at this very hour by sanctions, by protests, by international pressure? Well, it seems that it's actually emboldening him, Jake.
The new sanctions target President Maduro's assets. Could those help stop him potentially?
So there are a number of sanctions on the table right now. Last week, President Trump sanctioned individuals that are tied to President Maduro. Now President Maduro has been sanctioned, and his reaction was, I am not a stray dog. I don't just wag my tail for anything, and I will not give in on Venezuela's sovereignty. So these sanctions against President Maduro don't seem to be stopping him or having him bow down in any way. It's certainly something that could impact him personally when it comes to personal banking and any business he may have or any assets he may have in the United States, which at this point is unclear what that may be. But in terms of his statements that he's making publicly and his move forward with this new assembly that could give him more power, that could essentially get rid of the assembly that is opposition controlled, he is moving forward on those hour by hour.
And there's talk in the administration right now, in the Trump administration, about potentially sanctioning Venezuela's oil. That, of course, could be a double-edged sword.
Right, because, and we've talked to people on the streets, I even talked to someone from the Trump administration who actually said that very phrase, double-edged sword, because Venezuela has the largest oil reserve in the world. It was once one of the richest countries in Latin America because of that oil reserve. So if he sanctions the oil, and the United States buys a lot of oil from Venezuela, it may actually hurt the economy and the government as well. And this is an economy, Jake, that, as you know, as we've reported, it's already suffering. You combine inflation with food and medical shortages, and it's a very, very bad situation for Venezuelans on the streets.
All right, Leila Santiago in Caracas for us. Thank you so much. An explosive lawsuit claims that the White...
All right. So there it is with Venezuela. Why is Venezuela so important? Because of one thing: assets. Absolutely assets, especially now. But the U.S., and it's amazing how I'm listening to Cerebrally Naive Network, and the celebrity figurehead administration is now calling their election a sham, their sham election. Well, every election has always been a sham. So when this so-called entity for the system, when they subjugate and they colonize countries and tell them what they're going to do, that is some expression of their self-determination? No, you're giving the orders that you plan to actually have fulfilled by force. And once again, Venezuela, if it wants to go in the direction that it wants to go into, who is the U.S. to interfere? But see, there's an interest that's there. And that interest, ladies and gentlemen, is an asset. Oil is the asset that you need to control nations with. And the other assets, such as food, water, and the essentials for life, and this is how this system does it. It's devised a methodology for subjugation and control by seizing assets. Because when someone sees your assets, that means that you have to have a boss. There's someone that you have to listen to. There's someone that you have to answer to. And the system constantly teaches that everyone has a boss. No, that's a lie. Everyone that obeys does. Everyone that is sovereign doesn't need to answer to anyone. They create and use their assets. And the most important asset is the asset of themselves. And understanding that there's always a transfer of an asset for an asset. You give yourself to something that has value. You don't give yourself to something that's worthless. But in society, in this consumerism, that's exactly what we've been taught to do. It's very, very detrimental. I see my sister, Strategic Melanin, had posted inside from Lying Like a Fox News, U.S. Navy sailor missing from warship in the South Sea of China. Oh, boy.
Hey, Dave.
Now, I'm gonna tell you. We're gonna go to that. Yeah, go ahead, Scotty.
Yeah, I want to say something about Venezuela. Now, I understand what you mean when you say that every election is a fraud, but in terms of the context of what that news report is talking about, international observers from all other countries have reported that it was a transparent election. Their elections have always been transparent. They use electronic voting machines that actually give you a receipt. Plus, you also have to use your fingerprint. So there's no voting twice or anything like that. There's no ballot stuffing, and you have a record of your vote. I heard Jimmy Carter describe it as the most secure electoral system in the world. So, it just disgusts me, man. The ignorance.
Yeah, me too.
It disgusts me, the ignorance of Americans who think by way of just because you are in this country that you have the right to try to dictate to other countries what they should do. They're voting on their constitution. Right now, there's libertarians and conservatives in the United States trying to get enough states required to sign on to another constitutional convention so they can rewrite the Constitution. This is a
constitutional convention. They got the states to do it now. They
don't have them all, Dave.
They just need one more. I think they need one more.
I think they about maybe, I'm not sure. I have to look that up because me and Max been keeping up with it. But I know Trump is talking about sending Kellyanne Conway to be a part of this. But then you want to try to interfere in the internal affairs of Venezuela. And this started under Barack Obama with the sanctions against Venezuela. All right, there are some people who say that they poisoned Chavez. All right.
Yep.
And so, I mean, this is just disgusting, people.
When he repatriated his gold, yeah, he sure did. And Scotty, this is one of the things that I was going to say, and I'm glad you brought it up. Here's what I see is going to happen with Venezuela, and it's such a critical, because it's in the hemisphere, and it's so critical. If you're Venezuela, if you're Maduro, what would be the first thing that you would do? What's the first thing that you would do? You pick up the phone and you would call who? You call China. You say, hey, China, they're trying to sanction us, but you like to buy some oil. You know what China's going to say? Yes, we would. And China already has a presence in South America. It has a presence in the Caribbean. It has a presence in South America. And this is the overall untied states of America happening. This is how we're going to move into this paradigm of war. And it's going to start, and everybody's placed themselves strategically. This is why Russia kicked out the diplomats. See, they're not doing it the way that they've done it before, because then they would know the people would be aware of it, and they don't want people to be aware of it. They don't want people to prepare, because when you prepare, you don't fall for their stunts. You're able to sustain yourself. And that is, this whole thing is happening for a reason. And this is the untied states, because the states is going to invoke a false flag somewhere, and they're going to say that they've had all of the conditions ripe for every person here to believe it. They got you to believe everything. They got you to believe that everything that you've been taught domesticated-wise, so that you won't think for yourself as to who is this that is lying? Where's this lying frequency? Where's this frequency of destruction? Where's this low frequency coming from? Because what we respond to everything is by our physical senses. And they know that by having you respond by your physical senses, the main thing that they need to attract is the emotion of fear. And then you'll see what they see. You'll say what they say. You'll think what they want you to think. You'll hear what they tell you should be listening to. And you'll smell and you'll identify the smell of things based off of their ledger of what it is. That's dangerous. That means you always lose. So, listen, get ready to go to a commercial break. You're listening to Thando Radio Show. If you'd like to get in on the conversation, give us a call, 866-510-9025, 866-510-9025. Then hit **. We'll see you in queue and definitely bring you up. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break.
Podcasts and live program scheduling, visit us on the web at blacktalkradionetwork.com.
Okay, welcome back, everyone, to Thando Radio Show, brought to you by Black Talk Radio Network. If you'd like to get in on the conversation, give us a call, 866-510-9025, 866-510-9025. Hit **. We'll see you in queue. Oh, boy. And we will definitely bring you up. So I had to say, oh, boy, just found out something that's crazy. So we'd love to hear from you all. So, you know, and it's so funny when you look at everything that's going on. If you notice, there's being generals placed everywhere. It's a reason for that. We kind of lightly touched on that yesterday. Because that's where this system wants to have everything set up, and all the generals are in place. It's a very, very dangerous, and it's a very, very seditious plan. And these things happen because we're not aware, and we allow them to happen. And what I mean by we allow them to happen, you know, you as an individual, before you can change anything that affects many, you have to first start changing things with you. With you. That's where it all starts. Because once you start changing things with you, then you interact with everyone differently, because that's why this system is so powerful. of the decisions and the agreements that they have among themselves, and then they meet individuals that they have a common interest in, and they align those common interests. Now they're able to project themselves. And we need to start projecting ourselves. But before we can start to project ourselves, it always starts with us. It always starts with the seed. The seed is very, very strong, very, very small in comparison to its growth potential and the fruit that it bears. And of that fruit, it's able to sustain life and feed many. But it still starts as a seed. And there's a process. And this system has got us thinking, because the movies happen, we walk into the movie, and 2 hours later, we went through the whole thing, and we think that is the natural process to everything, is that quickly. And so what happens when it's time for us to make some meaningful changes? The first obstacle that we meet, we give up. We're double-minded. No, that's not going to work. It didn't work for me right away. Yeah, I heard that before already. I need something new. There's a constant dopamine displacement. We can never be satisfied with a process. We want everything immediately. And that's an addiction that gets introduced to us and is fortified by all the other poisons. So there's a lot of things that are unfolding because that's the projection of the plant. This is why it's so important for us to individually, to realign yourself from what you've been domesticated and taught in, because that overall teaching of you started at a very early age. And where you are now was a process to getting you there. It's going to be a process to wean you. It's a process to sever the umbilical cord. It's a process for everything, and that's a beautiful thing. Once you engage that process, you've already completed. You've already won. And when you know that, you'll never be, there's no reason for you to go in any other direction. So very, very important. So there's a lot of things that are setting up that I want to just make you aware of. And I think we got a caller in queue. Okay. And so one of the things that this whole thing is setting up, there's an article that I want you to check out. It's from The Sun, and it shows China. Let me show you something very significant in this. I want to show you something that's very significant in this. And in that article from The Sun, posted it there, says, here's the article. Red alert. China reveals its terrifying military weapons with a vast parade including stealth jets, nuclear missiles, attack helicopters, and thousands of elite troops. Celebrity figurehead Xi Jinping wearing his military fatigue, inspecting his troops personally. And it has Jinping there in his military uniform. And it goes on. China launches an awesome show of its military might just hours after warning Donald Trump about his involvement in North Korea. Thousands of Chinese marched alongside tanks and nuclear weapons and stealth fighters and attack helicopters as they roared overhead. And if you look at this picture, these pictures of this parade and this engagement, the second picture, the first picture that they have up has some people in Humvees, has a jet, has Jinping, and bunch of troops behind him. Second picture is helicopters, and then a bunch of tanks. I mean a bunch of tanks. Then the third picture, it has troops And the number of troops that were engaged in this is staggering. You know, China is the only country, militarily wise, that can produce these number of troops. Yes, India has a large military and everything else, but no country can produce what China is able to produce. Then this fifth picture shows the troops, and it is huge. And all of this is being displayed because they're not doing this just for show. It is the actual preparing for, staging for what is going to be coming. And I suggest you all take a look at this. This military parade. And North Korea, because of its vast wealth of rare earth elements, gold, silver, and its assets, North Korea is not going to be subjugated by the U.S. North Korea, Syria, Venezuela, Mexico, Europe, South Sea of China is where the U.S. goes for its empire to be systematically taken apart, to be rebuilt, so that the system doesn't lose a step. And that means, ladies and gentlemen, that everything here is going to be changing completely. The quality of life, standard of living is going to be completely decimated. And those that are not prepared for it won't see it coming, won't know what to do when it arrives. And when it does arrive, they're going to do what the system has taught them to do, and they're going to obey. And when they do, they're going to say that, well, we just lost the war. Ain't nothing that I could do about it. So I might as well go to this sweatshop and I work for 50 cents a day, 30 cents a day. And most people say, no, it can't happen. Well, that's what people always say. But you've never looked at how other people have been subjugated and lost every. Key to it all, the poison has been so thick to where we can't think clearly by looking at the evidence. We no longer can read the signs. We no longer can look at the energy and the movement and the flow of energy and interpret what that really means. We know critical, independent self-thought. We have to first check with Master. And this is to our detriment. But it doesn't have to be to yours. And I don't think it will. The significance of this is that this is happening right now. And I think that we are very close to something small, a black swan that blows out of proportion. Strategic Melanin just sent me this U.S. Navy sailor missing from warship in South China Sea. Why is that so important? Here's the problem with that. They're going to have a rescue search party. They're going to bring in more. Do you think that China is going to like that? Do you think that, and what did China just say? No one is going to encroach on our sovereignty. This is how a false flag starts and blows out of proportion. And what they'll do is, what they'll say is that they were there looking for the sailor, and this is why they had to bring in even more, and something went awry. I'm not saying that this is going to happen, but it's going to be something small that kicks everything off. All of the players are in position globally. Are you ready? Are you in position to properly respond in a way that will be in your best interest when North Korea is capable of cutting out all the lights, capable of causing a major earthquake on the West Coast? All you need is a nuclear device to do that. All you need is have a submarine. All you need is a kamikaze submarine, or just place a device, like I was saying, at Juan de Fuca. And this was just reported today. And what did I say yesterday? All they have to do is take one of their submarines, take a nuclear device to Juan de Fuca, set it off, and that will cause a major, major earthquake. The San Andreas will probably go. Juan de Fuca will go. The San Andreas will probably go. And that will be the start of everything.
Dave.
And what will that achieve? That will achieve mass depopulation globally because of the overall war. Yeah, go ahead, Scotty.
I mean, does it occur to logical thinking people that there is a common denominator here with all these conflicts around the world? Who is in more conflict with more nations simultaneously than the United States of America Incorporated? It's just ridiculous, man.
Yeah, it really is, Scotty, and it's so dangerous because it's actually it is actually the tool that stirs the overall drink of subjugation and enslavement, and it is actually a spirit, and it intoxifies so many. This is why we become so inebriated we don't even understand what's in the best interest anymore.
Oh, you just reminded me, Dave, when you said spirit, because I forgot to say it, but what I was thinking, they ain't never stopped practicing the religion of manifest destiny. Some people call it white supremacy, but it manifest destiny fits too.
Yeah, that's what I always say. Because manifest destiny begot the overall ritual of Nazism. And that's what this is manifest destiny, where they're destined to actually, this is the dominion. And they actually always kind to try to legitimize it through a practice, a ritual practice. And those ritual practices are actually doing something more than, or are actually intended for something else, but everybody else thinks is them engaging in a ritual practice of something else. That's not what it means for me. And don't even know you're practicing something that you didn't create. You were taught to practice this. You don't know why you do it. And yeah, it's really, really here. So I really do see coming very soon. And I didn't get to some of the other major things that what's in the news. If you'd like to get in the conversation before we get out of here, definitely jump in. Critical. Check out that article. Here's another one. And I posted a bunch of things where everything is being strategically put into place. From Press TV, the Iranian thing. U.S. should destroy North Korea itself. That's what Lindsey Graham is pushing. That's what they're going to do. And they only need the right thing to do it. Now, here's what's crazy. The U.S. Treasury, I'm going to say this real quickly, but you're more important. If you got a question or comment you want to make, we can always have another part of this show. Definitely make it, because what you say in your comments and your questions help so many people. So, so important. Here we go. Check this out. It is, let me just pull this up. This quarter, the Treasury, and I posted it here, is going to issue $500 billion. And I posted it. It's right there. And this one comes from, let me pull this up real quick. This comes from the U.S. Treasury Department yesterday. Here it is. July the 31st, 2017. Treasury announces remarkable borrowing estimates. And in this marketable borrowing estimates, in its overall quarter to quarter, in this next quarter, here's what it says. United States Department of Treasury today announced its current estimates of a net marketable borrowing for July through September of 2017 and October and December of 2017. October to December is the first quarter. This is the last quarter, July through September, quarter 4. During the July-September 2017 quarter, the Treasury expects to borrow $96 billion in net marketable debt, assuming an end of September cash balance of $60 billion. Borrowing is estimated at $2 billion lower than announced in 2017, May of 2017. During the October and December quarter, Treasury expects to borrow, here it comes, $501 billion in net marketable debt, assuming an end of December cash balance of $360 billion. $501 billion. Ladies and gentlemen, that is one quarter. That is a $500 billion in 1 3-month period that they're going to use that debt for. Why are they going to use that debt for that? Because something's going to happen between here and there. This is why the general in Minutia, I know his name is Mnuchin, I call him Minutia, Secretary of Treasury celebrity figurehead Minutia, and the general from Homeland Security yesterday was on saying that they were calling Maduro a dictator and everything else, and what they're going to be, because, ladies and gentlemen, this is how they're going to get the overall everything started, because they've already run out of debt. They've already run out of cash. They can't create anymore because nobody's buying the debt. This is going to adversely affect you. This is going to totally diminish and crush your purchasing power. And they hide this in things so that you think that, oh, that's no big deal. Are you $500 billion in debt in just a 3-month period? And the overall national debt from the time that the country was created to right now is supposedly at $20 trillion. So they're going to create debt of $500 billion in 3 months? And just from their figures, the debt is at $19 trillion? And just from
Dave,
a 3-month period, they're going to create almost a tenth of that? Man, you really need to pay attention to this. This is huge. But we got a caller. Someone said, called my name.
That was me,
yeah,
Dave.
Go ahead, Scotty. Was that you?
Yes,
yeah, go ahead, Scotty.
Yes. The CEO of USA Inc. been bragging over Twitter, talking about the stock market is at its highest point ever. And I mean, we used to hear that a lot during the Obama administration too. But what I don't think people are realizing that the stock market is on the rise because of the increase of private. Excuse me, my grandson distracted me. Private prison stock is a big reason for that boost, with them rounding up all of these quote-unquote undocumented immigrants and what ICE is doing, and that's driving the stock market up for the GEO Group, for Corporation of America. When the stock market at these all-time highs, when has it ever benefited us, the regular people?
No, never. Never has. And that's absolutely right, Scotty. And this is This is all going to be because they are going to create, all these jobs are going to be here because the industrial prison complex is going to expand. They're going to be putting everybody in it. They've got laws that everybody's already broken. And so what does that mean? They got laws to what? That already everybody, now you're going to be a slave. Because there's an exemption. There's an exemption. This is so huge. $500 billion in 4 months, in 3 months. What does that tell you? How are they going to create this? Because something is going to happen, and it's going to be massive, massive debt spending. This is the false flag is coming. Do y'all remember, let me just say this. Do y'all remember the day before 9/11 when Rumsfeld came on September the 10th, 2001? Rumsfeld came and said that the Department of Defense has lost. I can't remember what it was. It was
$1 trillion.
How much it was. Some astronomical amount.
It was $1 trillion. It was $1 trillion because Congresswoman at the time,
yes.
Cynthia McKinney, was calling them out on it.
Yes. You remember that? This is that moment happening again. See, they tell you before they do everything. This is that exact same moment right now. And before we get out of here, and everyone listen to Scotty, be up for Scotty's show. I want to end out in enough time. No, I'm not going to. But there's something else that was, and I'm going to just say this really quickly. The new, from the Commerce Department, the new release had just came out on the personal for people, the everyday peoples, the overall purchasing power and what they have. Are you ready? The new just came out, and what does it say? People have lost. 1 second, let me just pull this up real quick before we get out of here. One second. Oh. Okay. People have lost. The general population has lost. Here we go. $250 billion in U.S. household savings. $250 billion has just been wiped out in U.S. savings. You know what that means? That's you. That's you. $250 billion in U.S. savings has just been killed. And we're going to pick this up again, but I want to give Scotty some time to get ready for his special guest and for his show. Let me just, if we have let me just see, we have a caller in queue. If we have a caller in queue, let me just check. I won't be able to take the call at all because I want Scotty to have time. So the caller out of Pennsylvania, sorry about that. Jerry, sorry about that. We won't be able to take calls because I want Scotty to be able to prepare for enough time to have for his special guest on the show that's coming up after. We will definitely pick this up again and why this is so critical. This is us seeing and realizing what's really going on and reading the signs. Want you all to be prepared. It's never goodbye, everyone. We'll talk to you later. And before you ask for a fortune, make sure to give one away. We're going to end the show really quickly. Brother Braggs, chime us up out of here, and we'll talk to you all soon. Peace. Get ready for Scotty's show.
Peace. Yes, sir. I'm going to be right there. You know it. Peace.
Peace.
Gold dinar would have had serious consequences for the world financial system, but may also have empowered the people of Africa, something black activists say the US wants to avoid at all costs.
We're slicing cake. We're slicing cake. We're slicing cake.
Say the US wants to avoid at all costs.
We're slicing cake.
Say the US wants to avoid at all costs. Gaddafi didn't give up. In the months leading up to the military intervention, he called on African and Muslim nations to join together to create this new currency that would rival the dollar and euro. They would sell oil and other resources around the world only for gold dinars. It's an idea that would shift the economic balance of the world. Countries' wealth would depend on how much gold they have, not how many dollars they trade. And Libya has 144 tons of gold. It's happened before. In 2000, Saddam Hussein announced Iraqi oil would be traded in euros, not dollars. Sanctions and an invasion followed. Some say because the Americans were desperate to prevent OPEC